There's a guy named Donald Trump. Perhaps you've heard of him. And if you have heard of Donald Trump, you know that Donald Trump thinks very highly of himself. Donald Trump is all about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump fancies himself as a successful businessman, as Mr. Head of the Table, Mr. Center of Attention, Mr. Big Shot who calls all the shots. The problem with all of that is that despite the fact that Donald Trump thinks that he is the master of the deal, so much so that he wrote a book, The Art of the Deal, the reality is that Donald Trump is not terribly successful at business. Well, if we count bankruptcies as a measure of success in business, which I think we probably can with good justification, Donald Trump is not terribly successful at much of anything except being Donald Trump, playing a part. Today I will focus on Donald Trump, despite the fact that I still maintain that Donald Trump is more of a symptom than the problem that America faces today. Because Donald Trump is a product of America, a product of an American system. But if we look at the symptoms, sometimes we can diagnose the disease. In thinking about Trump, I think about an old adage that some people aren't satisfied with a transaction unless they have taken advantage of another party. And that fits Trump's attitude. He is all about winning. Of course, winning as he defines it, not as anyone else defines it, because he doesn't care what anyone else thinks. He only cares about what he thinks. Now, of course, the problem with Trump really is that he happens to be president of the United States, and that is a significant problem. It doesn't really help anyone but the Project 2025 people and big oil and various other corporations and big money people who profit from the nonsense that they are allowing Trump to do. And yes, the real power lies in those corporations, while Trump is mostly the sideshow. But let's look at the sideshow. Let's look at Trump's fart of the deal and the real problem that is the problem with America. When Trump was in New York City, he wanted to be the kingpin of New York real estate and business. He wanted to be the boss, the one everyone knew was in charge. Really, that's what Trump has wanted more than anything else, for everyone to believe he's the ultimate deal maker and decider, the man every person has to come to get anything done. He wants to sit in his chair behind his desk and with one hand dispense largesse to supplicants and with the other hand accept their money. This is how Trump governs. It's how he's governed his businesses, most of them failing, but it's also how he's governing the United States, which, let's be honest, is right now failing. Trump only thinks a deal is done if he believes he's taking advantage of the other party in the deal. This is his foreign policy. This is his domestic policy. This is his economic policy. And this is very American, this notion that we win by dominating the other side, that we make a deal by telling the other person, the other people involved, what they will accept. We can look at Trump's tariff policy. It's not really a policy, it's him just thinking that if I do this, other people will need to come to me to get what I want to give to them. And he wants this, again, behind the desk. Come to me and I will give you a better deal. But of course, the deal always has to be to his advantage. The tariff policy has been a joke. It is completely arbitrary, complete nonsense. It's not based on any reality. It's based on domination. It's based on taking advantage. But that's how America has always been, from its policy towards Latin American countries, even before that, its policy toward Native American populations, and of course, its policy towards black and brown people in general, especially the enslaved people that were brought into the United States to work for the United States money interests, all about taking advantage of people. This is the American way. This is when America was great. And I'm not mocking that. That's just the reality of it. It's how it has always been for the rich elites within the United States. And we're not going Marxist on this. It's just simply the way that it is. When Trump says he wants to make America great again, that's the America to which he wants to return. An America that does not have a sense of international diplomacy, an America that does not consider the other nations of the world to be worthy as equals, to be nations that need to be respected. It's that lack of respect. It's that need to take advantage of another person. In this case, for the United States, advantage of entire nations. The tariff policy of just arbitrarily deciding, I want to put this percentage of a tariff on that nation, this percentage of a tariff on this other nation. It's reciprocal, but it's not reciprocal, of course. It's what he thinks taking advantage of that nation is. He puts a number on it. Now, Donald Trump loves numbers. Just recently in his primetime speech about the attack on Iran, it's not even a war, it's just basically an attack on another sovereign nation, he ticks off why people should be patient with this. Because, of course, this has only lasted a month. It's only 30 days. When he rattles off, World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. As if somehow these are equivalencies that matter in this situation. And you don't have a plan. Who needs a plan? You're taking advantage. You're winning because you say you're winning. And then there's the so-called allies of the United States, which really aren't allies at all in Trump's mind and in America's mind, because they're only allies if they do your bidding. They're servants. Even whole nations are servants. Trump recently said of the ally of the United Kingdom and their Prime Minister Keir Starmer the following. He said, look, we want your aircraft carriers. And Starmer, because Starmer realizes what the rule of law means, for all his faults, Starmer understands how things actually work if you're going to succeed. He says, I'll have to consult my people. And Trump says, no, you don't, because, of course, to consult other people, to care what other people think is a sign of weakness. Hold on to that thought. Starmer says, I have to go through channels. I have to do it properly. I have to do it to make it a success. Trump doesn't care about that. He only cares about telling people what to do. And people are only valuable, people are only an ally if they do what they're told. Now, the stupidity of all of this, of course, is in that last line. We can get the ships there next week. Oh, that's 2 days. The war's going to be over. 3 days. There's a Trump and Putin parallel there about 3 days. We'll just take the nation in 3 days. War isn't really war. It's only a 3-day excursion, a special operation. Trump likes to rattle off these numbers because numbers are somehow impressive, like all the numbers on his tariff chart, the reciprocal tariffs that aren't reciprocal at all, the numbers that came from nowhere, that he pulled out of his ass. This is what Trump thinks a deal is. Dominance, advantage, exploitation. Anything else is a sign of weakness. And I return to that point because this is really the operative point here. What does Trump and many other people in the hierarchies, the higher echelons of a power structure in the United States think strength is? What they think strength means. They believe that strength is taking advantage of other people. Unless you have taken advantage of someone, unless you can feel a sense of dominance over another person, you're not strong. There's been so much talk lately of the manosphere, as if somehow this was something new, some sort of weird thing that was invented by social media. The manosphere, this notion of being so strong, so fierce, so unmoved by the reality of other people, a refusal to admit that other people are equal and not as strong as me. That's not new. That's not a product of social media. That's not a product of recent times. There's a name for this attitude, and it's called patriarchy. Patriarchy has existed for a very long time, perhaps as long as human civilization itself. But let's talk about what we're dealing with now, with not just Donald Trump, who is a symptom of this larger sense of patriarchal control, patriarchal dominance, patriarchal exploitation. Because while it may have its roots in male dominance over females, it is, of course, an attitude, a power structure, a power dynamic that can be applied anywhere and everywhere, and has been. Throughout the entirety of American history, we have had dominance. We've had deals that take advantage of others, take advantage of Native American populations, take advantage of immigrants, take advantage of women, take advantage of minorities, whether religious or ethnic minorities. What matters? What is strength? These are questions we all need to ask of ourselves, and we also need to ask about the countries that we live in. Because it's not just the United States that is willing to buy into this attitude. Look at Russia, look at China, look at North Korea, look at Hungary, look at various other nations, look at coups, look at rebellions, look at local warlords, look at people in companies, look at people in families. It's not about Trump. He is living an attitude and a way of approaching life and a way of approaching other people that is very widespread and prevalent throughout the world. And the reality is that people who are that way, Trump and everybody else, though they want to believe that that's strength, in reality, it's weakness. In reality, it's cowardice. Because you cannot handle anyone being equal to you. And we can see that in Trump. And if we want to learn something from Trump, we can learn that. He is a coward. He cannot handle even the idea, even the suggestion that people who aren't him could be considered equal to him. That's the reactionary right. The dread fear that someone, somewhere, that you think is your inferior is being treated as your equal. Trump didn't invent that attitude. Trump may personify it. But it's a very old attitude. It's a very common attitude. It's weakness. It's cowardice. It's an inability to accept other people as equals. It's an inability to handle sharing the world with other people. That's Donald Trump, the coward. Not the art of the deal. Whatever fart he has today from his mind, from his mouth, of what he thinks at the moment is an advantage that makes him look better because he cannot handle reality. And I don't ask you to pity Donald Trump. Why would we do that? But I am asking you to think about how that dynamic works everywhere that it works, everywhere that we see it played out. Because when we start to see that, when we start to take the mask off, when we start to see that the emperor has no clothes, when we start to see that these gestures of strength are gestures of cowardice, that's when we can start to counter it. Not living in fear, but standing up to the bullies. And recognizing, I will add this again, that's how America has always been. Not all of America, of course, but too much of America and too much of the world.